When event organizers book entertainment, they usually think about it last, after the venue, after the catering, and after the AV. Entertainment gets kind of like treated like a decoration, a nice to have, a gap filler session. But what if that thinking is actually costing you audience energy, post event memory, in the very outcomes you're trying to deliver? Now, today's guest has spent nearly 3 decades performing for some of the world's most demanding audiences, from boardrooms to global conferences, gala dinners, incentive events, and along the way, he's developed a very specific argument. And that is that entertainment done right isn't a cost line, it's actually a strategic lever. Now, Larry Soffer is Africa's leading mentalist. He's performed mind reading, metal bending, and telekinesis on stages from Johannesburg to international conference platforms. But what sets him apart isn't the illusions. It's those moments, what they actually do to an audience. And those are crucial moments for us as event organizers. Larry, a very warm welcome to Africa Event Connect.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Well, I'm really excited, and I think I've never had somebody, an entertainer like you, on the show. So we're really excited that we can introduce you to our audience, and I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised because you're the kind of person that makes such an impact on an event, and that's what we all want. We all want our audiences to walk away with a memory that sticks, with an action. We want them to be able to do something after, to take with them what they've gained and make an impact on the industries that they work within. Now, let's start with basically the fact that you've performed over, hundreds of events, from gala dinners, like we said, to serious corporate ones. When you walk into a brief, right, what's the most common misunderstanding organizers have about what they're buying when they say, Larry, we want you to be on stage for us? What do you think they're getting? A magician?
Well, I've actually had to get over a very common misconception that magic is like the rabbit out of a hat kind of stuff, and I don't really do that kind of thing. I can pull a hair up my sleeve, though. and so that's taken many years to get over that, because magic can be cool, and I started out my art form in the art of magic, and I slowly transitioned into mentalism, right? And mentalism is magic of the mind, if you will. So it's the mind reading, and it's the metal bending, and thought prediction, and doing all kinds of crazy things, manipulating people's thoughts and the physical universe in ways that are almost unimaginable and definitely impossible. And so they often kind of sync what I do with magic, and they think it's maybe some sort of a trick and it's just magic out of a hat. But when they actually see what I do and experience what I do, either across a Zoom call, in a Zoom demo, because we always offer a free 15-minute demonstration, then they really get to see what I do. And I remember sitting on a Google call, and the guy was like, "What are you waiting for? Just take his money already." So, it's really about engagement and connection and a memorable shared experience that the audience never forgets. They talk about it for years after the event is completed. And I think that's the real difference. They actually get to see that in a meeting with me, or when they see me step on stage for the first time.
That is amazing, I'm sure. I mean, just our little introduction before we started this recording, I think, was already so much to take in, and got this big smile on my face, as you can see. So you have really started us off on a good note. Now, you talk about
Well,
mindful
thank you.
entertainment, right? And that's entertainment designed to uplift, reconnect, inspire, and not just distract. And I think just from my conversation, you can already see you've uplifted my spirits. Where does that philosophy come from? I mean, was there a moment in your career where you realized, well, the industry was approaching this all backwards and we needed to change that?
So I understand the first part of the question, and I'll tell you where it all comes from. The second part, if you could repeat that for me again.
So where does that all come from? I mean, was there a moment that where you realized the industry, the event industry, was approaching entertainment in reverse? You know, we were going backwards, then going forward, and understanding that our audiences have changed and how we approach entertainment should be from a different angle or different perspective.
Hmm. Interesting. It's a very interesting question because when you're talking about entertainment designed to uplift and reconnect and inspire and so on, um, it's really not just to distract and the purpose is where that comes from for me, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if I'm understanding the rest of the question, but I'll give you my answer in that regard, and you tell me if I'm answering your question. But
Oh,
where it all comes from for me is that my purpose is to inspire people to believe to see instead of seeing to believe. And what I mean by that is that most people say, I'll see it before I believe it, right? Especially with what I do, especially starting out in the field of magic, people feel like they have to see it in order to believe in it. And even more so in mentalism, because it's even more impossible. People know it's not rabbit out of a hat kind of stuff. They know nothing's going up his sleeve. That was something else, right? Like what you just experienced before we even got onto the call, right?
yeah.
So my purpose is to inspire people to believe to see instead of seeing to believe, because most people say, I'll see it before I believe it. But that's not the way things are created. Things are created because somebody believed in them first. Things don't exist because we see them to be there. Things actually exist because we believe them to be there, and then we make them come into reality. We manifest them. We bring them about through our actions, but initially through our thoughts.
That is a very interesting perspective. So you're saying
Yeah.
in order for it to become a reality, it needs to start. It
It,
starts in our minds and it
it
needs to
starts with
be,
the belief. Yeah.
it starts, and that's where the first existence of the idea or the word or the feeling belongs. It's in
Yeah.
the mind.
Yeah, and that's why I do what I do, is to inspire people to believe to see instead of seeing to believe. Because if you can believe to see, you can believe in your own ideas. You can then create those ideas and become the master of your own destiny. So in my show, in my presentations, I show that the impossible is truly possible, and people walk away going, "Wow, we've just witnessed the impossible being possible. What else can we do in our lives? Maybe we can achieve our dreams."
Mm. I spoke to somebody recently who talked about, you know, again, a different perspective on what we do. So, for example, you know, you go into a conference and you're going to an event and you say, oh, I have to go there. I have to. Um, I have to go and listen to this talk on something. It becomes a burden. Uh, so there's not much expectation. And he said to me, if you change that perspective to say, I get to go there,
Mm,
I will get to learn about something amazing that's going to change my life. When you see it from that perspective, that positive mental attitude already sets you up for a good experience to what you're getting to. Now, it draws me back, that similarity to what you're saying by planting the seed of that you're going to expect something amazing. You're going to have the opportunity to witnessing something amazing that where you get to take back with you and make a difference in your daily life, in your job, etc. So very similar, and I love that synergy that you're bringing into this conversation. Right.
yeah, totally. And you're absolutely right with that, because we don't experience life as it is. We experience life as we perceive it to be.
Mm,
So
yeah,
if we can change our perception in our minds, change the way that we see things, we can then experience a reality that's more beautiful.
that is so true. Changing in perspective makes all the difference. Now, some event professionals would say, for example, that our conference is very serious. You know, our delegates are senior. Entertainment is a nice break, but it's not strategic enough for what we want. What would your response be to that?
Well, my first response is that what I do is perfect for any event. Even if I say so
Why?
myself.
And she's going to
So
ask
yeah,
why.
there's nothing more to say than that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But I do say that, you know, what I do is not a rabbit out of a hat kind of magician kind of act. Like I said before, I'm a mentalist, and my work is really centered around the mind and perception and influence and human potential, what we're really truly capable of. And most of my clients are actually CEOs. They're the executive council. They're business leaders, and what I find is that even the most serious audiences still want to be inspired. They still want to be surprised. They want to have their thoughts challenged, especially the more serious and more discerned and intelligent kind of thinking crowd. It's almost like they walk in there with a bit of a challenge, and when those challenges are met, and their skepticism is broken, they truly start to feel like a child again, you see, because great entertainment takes people out of that ordinary moment, and it creates wonder, it creates conversation, and it creates memories that people carry with them long after the event is over. And that's why I truly believe that entertainment can truly be a strategic choice.
I learned a while back that if we try to use um, the concept of surprise and delight when we're trying to activate an event, it can add that wonder that you're talking about, and allow your imagination to run and give you so many options that you never thought of before. But bring them
Yeah.
and allow and surprise them and delight them, so that you can stimulate their minds, and using entertainment like yours does exactly that.
Exactly. And you know, when people are in a low emotional state, they don't want to do much.
Mm.
But when they're uplifted into a state where anything you imagine can become possible, they create the impossible. They then allow themselves to, through that energy. I believe that emotion is energy in motion, and through that energy, they can motivate action from their imaginations, and they can create a new reality. They can create things that they previously thought were, like I say, impossible.
That is fascinating. Now let's explore a little bit more about the science behind this wow, right? Um, and what organizers obviously need to understand and not be afraid of introducing into their event structure. So you've also described awe as a mental relaxation moment. Okay, now that's a very bold claim for our industry, which measures impact in delegate satisfaction scores and lead counts, and you know, and making the case. So, what is awe actually doing to an audience?
Well, in order to understand that, I think we first have to understand the definition of awe. So, awe is not just admiration, because a
Mm.
lot of people, I think, we think, oh, we admire that we're in awe, right?
Mm.
But there is also surprise in there and a bit of fear. And I think it's a good fear because it's a bit of a shock, you know, always like, wow, like you're stunned, you're shocked,
Mhm.
right? And it gets people out of their busy minds, and it really gets them into the present moment. And I believe that when we're in that present moment, we can not only feel relaxed, but we can also feel high energy at the same time. So often we think that feeling relaxed or feeling calm is just about feeling very kind of chilled, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't have to be there. That it can also be calm, but it can be confident, and it can also be a motivating feeling. And I think that's what my art form gets people into. It gets people into that state of mind where, for a few moments, they stop worrying about the world out there. They stop analyzing and planning, and they simply experience what's actually happening in front of them, and they take that experience and they go back into their life, and they create even greater action in their lives and in their business.
Wow, that's exactly what we want. As organizers, we want people. It doesn't just end there. That's the understanding we need to have when we're organizing events. Um, it doesn't end there. It is what is the inspired action thereafter, right? And
Mm.
I love it, the fact that that awe allows them to do that. Now let's move on to mental relaxation. How do you balance awe and mental relaxation?
Yeah, totally. I think when I say mental relaxation, it gets them out of that stressed moment, and gets them really into the present, and and so that's where that really fits in. When you're in the present, it doesn't necessarily mean, like I said, when you're mentally relaxed, you don't have to be chilled. You can be mentally relaxed, but you can still be motivated to push toward a future that you desire.
Yes, because I mean, we've seen it as well. The more stressed you are, the less you can be creative, innovative, take inspired action because you are so highly strung and with your to-do list and your check boxes that you can't move forward. But you're right, you're so right. Just allowing your brain to relax and to be in awe, it allows you to um, just do more.
To truly be, you're truly present, and when you're truly present, you can create the future. If you're stressed, your thoughts are actually stuck in the past. And so you can't really see what's in front of you to act right now to create a desired future.
That's amazing. Now, there's research on the psychology of shared experiences, right? How collective moments of surprise and wonder change group dynamics, even, not just on an individual level. So, what does that mean practically for conference organizers? How do you think they should be thinking about, placing and sequencing and integration of entertainment into the program so that it can affect the group dynamic?
Well, yeah, it's actually what we've been saying up until now. Funny enough, all these questions are leading one into the other,
Yeah.
and it really is true what you're saying. It really uplifts people into a high emotional state. It's almost like what team building tries to do. It gets people into that communicative state where they can actually interact with each other and they don't feel this divide and separation amongst each other, right?
Hmm.
And I really feel that entertainment shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be placed intentionally to really create that energy and create that connection, because it really also helps messages stick. Because when people are in that heightened emotional state and they're really present, they're
Mhm.
attentive, and they then receive the messages instead of being in a very bored state and not receiving anything, right? Because they're thinking about what they ate for last night's dinner, or maybe they're thinking about going to that party this weekend with their colleagues,
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
drinks after the event, right? So so yeah, so that's what it really helps people to do. And I think organizers sometimes underestimate the power of creating that shared moment, because most conference programs are built around content, right? Speaker after speaker, presentation after presentation. Like I said, it can become very boring, and they can't wait for it to be done unless the speaker themselves is very entertaining and engaging, of course, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and often the thing that delegates actually talk about the most after the event isn't that moment where they're experiencing slide after slide, but it's that shared experience that they got to be engaged in all together. That entertaining moment, something that was wow to them, something that put them into that state of awe, into that present moment that they can like feel something else than the everyday mundane life. And so, also when it comes to sequencing, just as part of your question,
Yes,
I personally think, and this is a little bit more of the boring side of the answer here, but entertainment should be after starters or after mains at the max. It shouldn't be after dessert. That's when people feel like they want to go home, and so it should be within the in the part of the evening where they're still all engaged, and they're all still emotionally there, not with their thoughts halfway out the door.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting insight. Now, what about what are your thoughts on how organizers are briefing the entertainment? Because sometimes I don't think entertainers are getting much of a brief. Uh, because the speakers are surely getting a brief. You've got keynote speakers, and that's where very often the focus is on. And the entertainment is just the entertainment. It's the refresher in between. But do you think organizers should change their perspective and their brief with that in that respect?
I do think so. In some regards, with what I do, I can basically walk in and I can do my show and I can see the environment as it is, and I can engage in that environment. But the best organizers do tell me more about the event, the objective, um, where I fit into the program. Uh, what else? How many people they are, what time the event starts, all that kind of stuff. That's usually the normal thing to get told. But then a more inclusive brief of everything would be who is the audience and what is the purpose of the event and what are the key messages or themes that I could maybe incorporate into my show, and where the energy levels are like in the event. Those questions help me to understand how to create the greatest impact, but also, and I think it's a really important thing to take into to consideration, is how the audience is seated in relation to the stage. Because often I would walk into an event, and if I could be a part of the organization of every part of the event, I would be able to give more input from the entertainment perspective of how the seating should be arranged. Because sometimes you walk into an event where you have 70 people in a very large room with a very large stage, but now they feel like they have to make those tables fit. So then the energy gets lost in that room because the people are so far apart. And so it's better when they're close together, they're closer to the stage, that there's no dance floor between the audience and the stage, because that helps with the engagement from entertainer to audience. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. And as you say that, I'm just thinking to so many instances where we fail to consult with the entertainer to that level. Uh,
Mm,
we assume a lot of things. We use a one size fits all for the entire day's program in terms of the layout. And that does create degrees of boredom, frustration, not being able to engage with the relevant speaker or entertainment on stage because of that setup, because we've used that one size fits all. And sometimes sessions are long. I mean, it's going on the whole day, and you've got an audience that's sitting there from the morning till the evening. And if you don't change things up, uh, you're going to lose them in the second half of it,
mm,
right? So
exactly.
yeah, so getting you involved in to that level, and not just about, because I mean we're good at saying, this is how long is your session's going to be. You have to be there from this time to this time. This is who you're speaking to. This is the audience. This is the objectives, and that's where it stops. You're not sure very much, and because not everybody asks the question, and not everybody gets briefed on what the room layout is going to be like either.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes even the room should be chosen upon the acoustics, because often I have to sit with the sound guys and try and don't know if this is going to make sense to the people listening to this, but we have to EQ out the echo in the room,
Yeah.
because if there's this tremendous amount of echo or slapback from the walls where your voice is bouncing off of the walls and coming back at you. First of all, it's very distracting to the speaker or to the entertainer on stage, and second of all, it's very disorientating to the audience because they're hearing every second word because of the amount of echo in the room. So not all rooms are actually structured perfectly for every kind of scenario, and so that's also a little bit of a challenge, because you have to find the appropriate room, and it's not necessarily always available.
Now let's look at the difference between entertainment that fills a slot and entertainment that reinforces the event's theme or narrative, right? Um, can you tell me about an event maybe that you have done where you feel like you were genuinely integrated into the event design, and what were the outcomes of that?
Yeah, I can. Let me just think about it for a second. Actually, recently I was engaged in an event where I was told about the theme, and I really incorporated. It was actually for a company called Magic Orange. They
Oh,
were a tech company, and I incorporated their theme and also even an orange into the show as well. But they loved it so much. They loved the way that it was incorporated. Their messages were incorporated. In fact, that's something that they specifically came to tell me after the show. And of course, they loved the humor and the performance too. But they really loved the fact that their messages got to be driven home. And I think that's really important because I do incorporate messages and ideas and themes into the show in various different ways. And so it really makes those ideas stick. I'm obviously not there as a speaker and to really drive those ideas home. But when those kinds of event themes are sprinkled throughout the show, people remember something that the speaker said early on in the day, and so it just
Absolutely.
gets to reinforce those ideas.
And tell me, what did the organizer do differently to ensure that you delivered on those messages?
I don't quite know because I'm not the one dealing with that. It's normally
I suppose in
my
terms of the brief to you, I'm talking about.
yeah. So normally I get instructed from my manager. So
Mm-hmm.
she says, okay, this is what needs to be incorporated. And so then I come up with creative ideas on how to incorporate their messages and how to incorporate parts of their theme into the show. And yeah, so it's all based on entertainment, but they normally give the brief to my manager. Then my manager says, okay, this is what you need to get done. So I don't really see the initial brief always.
But obviously, that brief that your manager was able to give you is because the organizer gave her, on your behalf, right, a better brief, a fuller brief in terms of those messages, those key messages, and that's how you're able to incorporate it. Because, like you said, you don't
Definitely.
always get that.
Yeah, definitely. If they're able to tell me their theme, they're able to tell me, let's say it's a little bit of a complicated theme or complicated idea, and they really break it down and they go, this is what we're all about as a company, and this is the message that we're trying to drive across to our audience. That helps me in creating the effects necessary for that program.
Okay. Now I want to ask you another question here, right? In terms of people always want or organizers always want a return on investment, right? And
Mhm.
especially if we're going to have premium entertainment. There's also the budget conscious organizer. You have clients who see entertainment as discretionary. So you got all of these ones: premium, budget, discretionary. It's we all view entertainment in a different light depending on the event that we're organizing and what kind of entertainment we want. Um, is there a way to reframe that in terms of ensuring that we get the right entertainment for our events?
Definitely, and what organizers should definitely take into consideration in every aspect, whether it's a speaker or an entertainer or anything, is always the value that gets offered. So I don't think it's always when we buy something just in everyday life,
Mhm.
we don't purchase things easier upon the price of the item. It's upon the value that we feel that item or that service is actually worth. That's really how we as humans see whether something is expensive or not, right? So
Absolutely.
if that perceived value can change, they'll actually see that, oh, wow, this is really worth it. But then obviously there are always budget concerns, especially when it comes to entertainment. I do understand that as well. And not everybody is going to be able to afford a premium entertainer for their event, right?
Yeah,
But organizers have to ask themselves whether they want to fill a slot on their agenda or find ways to stretch the budget and have something that guests will actually carry with them for years after the event is completed. Like I said, it's the value that's in the engagement and the connection and that memorable experience that lasts for a long time after the event.
absolutely. And I suppose if you think about it, every single thing that we put on that program, including the refreshment breaks in between, impacts the takeaways from the day, right? It all puts this big picture together. It's all part of the bigger framework. It's all part of that feeling that we want you to walk away.
Mm,
Um, so it
definitely.
can't be taken lightly, I suppose, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I say, you have to choose between whether you want to fill a slot or whether you want something that's truly engaging and memorable. And then, and if you want something that's truly engaging and memorable, like you say, then put a little bit more thought into it and a little bit more research. Maybe jump on the line with the entertainer or with the speaker and see what they truly have to offer, because then you'll know, is that going to be valuable for your event?
Yes. Now, there's growing conversation about wellness at events, right? Mental health and burnout and the pressure of, being always on for professionals. And you've positioned what you do as sitting at the intersection of entertainment and wellness. And is that where you see the most growth?
Um, in what I do
Yes,
particularly.
yes.
So in what I do particularly, people, because I've been in the industry for a very long time. So I've actually been doing this for 30 years. I know I don't look like it. And I'm not even giving away my age here because I really started really young.
Okay.
And, and so I've really built up my name. And so it's when people come to me to have me as part of the event, it's and not meaning to sound arrogant in any way at all, or blowing my own trumpet or anything like that, but people honestly come to have me as part of their event because they know the type of experience that their guests are going to be engaged in. They know it's going to be a memorable experience. They know that they're going to talk about it for way after the event is completed, like I said, and so that's really how I generally get booked. But I think this is a very interesting aspect of things where organizers can actually change their perspective and go, well, maybe we can get an entertainer like Larry to really uplift the audience and bring them into a state of a better state of mind, a more a wellness orientated approach. But that's not necessarily why I get booked.
Yes, no, I'm sure. But I suppose that leaves the opportunity for organizers to look at entertainment as part of the wellness program. We all realize that you can't have everybody just on constant go, from the time they arrive. It is exhausting, both mentally and physically, being at a conference, even if it's just for a day or a few days. So it's the mental fatigue that we go through needs to be interspersed with
Mm,
well thought out entertainment like yours. Sometimes when people think about wellness or burnout, they think, let's have a meditation session.
mm.
Or let's have a yoga session in the morning. But entertainment and wellness can come in other forms, like yours.
Definitely, definitely, and actually, you inspired a thought or inspired a memory to come about right now, if I may tell
Yes,
you.
please.
There was a few years ago, or many years ago, I actually had somebody come up to me and they said to me, it was at the J&B Met. I don't know if you know the J&B Met. Yeah, so it's a horse racing day for those who don't know, and it's here in Cape Town. And this guy came up to me and he said to me, "Are you Larry Soffer?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, I saw you a few years back here at the JMB Met, and you've changed my life.
Wow.
Like you twisted a spoon for me. So actually, like twisted the metal neck of the spoon, right? Which there's no way that you could do that except in a vice grip. And he said, "You twisted a spoon for me, and I've kept that twisted spoon, on my shelf ever since, and it's kept me knowing that there's more to life, and that's kept me rehabilitated from drugs."
Wow. That is true impact. That is true impact.
Yeah. So you can see that from a wellness perspective of how it really uplifts people and gets to live more to life. And maybe they can achieve everything that they would like to.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I agree. Entertainment comes in different forms, inspiration comes in different forms. Even uh, having comedians, allowing people to laugh, allowing
Mm,
people to just, uh, you know, forget their day-to-day activities and just have a good laugh makes such a difference to your wellness, being in awe, and different. So all of these kinds of things are just different forms of entertainment that I think organizers should look at using within their program. I mean, you've really inspired my thinking, I must say. So
Well,
thank
thank you. That's great.
so thank you so much for that. Now you've been doing this for nearly 30 years, and like you've said, you've made audiences cry, laugh, gasp. I think, yeah, you've definitely changed how people think about life through every single moment that you've been on stage. But what still surprises you and still moves you when you bring a room together?
Well, I really live every moment for those audience reactions, for that moment where I can see sometimes it's such a cool moment for me. And sorry to be a little bit more informal here,
No.
but it's me standing in front of a person and they've just seen the impossible happen and the cogs in their mind just jam and you can see it in their face. I love that. I absolutely love breaking people's reality because then they can be taken up into a moment of believing that reality is really what we choose it to be. It's not what we see it to be. It's what we believe it to be. It's what we imagine it to be. And through imagination, we can, like I said before, really, truly create new realities.
I love it.
So it's really seeing that childlike wonder in a grown adult, right? And no matter who the people are, if they're top CEOs, of the executive council, or anything like that, you know, it doesn't matter how successful they are, they still crave that wonder and that connection and that truly impossible experience. And when they see that happen, they start to think, wow, maybe anything truly is possible.
Absolutely. And that's all we need, to know that it is truly possible. It is truly possible. So before
Exactly.
we part ways, is there any parting moments that you have for our audience today?
Well, I've been sitting here with this board over here on the table since
Right.
the beginning. You guys might have seen that throughout the interview, but it's actually a prediction, Projeni, of what you're going to be thinking in the next few moments. So I've written down a number between 1 and 100. I'd like you to change your mind as many times as you like. Whenever you have a number in mind, you can let me know. I mean, if I've predicted your number on this board that's been sitting here the entire time, that would be crazy, right?
Right. For our audience that is listening and can't see, so Larry's had a chalkboard behind him from the time we've started this discussion. It's got a question mark on it. And I didn't realize there was something behind this, but he did say, we're going to be using this. So, right, let's go for this, Larry. I need to think of a
Okay,
number.
great. So there's literally, you can't see what the number is. The number is facing me at the moment, and we've never prearranged or discussed this. You didn't even know that I was going to get you to think of a number. So if you had to think of any number between 1 and 100, what would you think of? Like I say, you can change your mind as many times as you like.
Yeah.
You can say it out loud when you have one.
Oh, so many numbers between 0 to 100, like that I can, go between. But I'm actually just going to look at the battery life on my
Oh, okay. You can do that.
iPad
I mean,
right now,
that's even more random, right? So you
right?
know that I'm not even like influencing you in any way, right?
And it's 21.
And there's no way that I could have known that you would have thought of that, right?
No. No. Get out of here.
And for those of you who are just listening, it actually says 21 on the board. That's been sitting there
Okay.
since the beginning of our talk here today.
That is crazy. You have no idea how many times I changed my mind thinking about the number. You think about birthdays and you think about special years, and I was thinking, I'm going to get you. I'm really going to get you. Goodness me.
Yeah. Now, I would like to take this a little bit further, if that's
Okay.
okay with you.
Yeah.
Can you think of your first crush, and not your grandma, not your. Sorry, I was actually going to say first kiss and say not your grandmother, but let's make it less personal than. Let's make it less personal than first kiss, and let's go for first crush, right? So,
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so can you think of your first crush, the first boy you liked? It doesn't have to be your first true love or anything like that.
Oh, there were so many. That's the story, you know. So this one too is going to be so interesting. Uh,
Okay. Can you think
okay.
of one in your mind?
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep one in my mind. One of the many.
Okay, cool. So,
I
so I'm
don't.
getting this
I
was in your.
don't. I don't leave anybody out, and I don't make them feel really, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting this was when you were quite young, right?
Yeah, that is right.
You're like 9, turning 10, or you just turned 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Look at me. Okay. I'm getting that this boy, I'm getting he was quite lean, but he also partook. I don't know if you remember this, but I'm getting this from your mind, and I don't know if this is one of the other guys, but I think it's this one. He was quite sporty. I think he played soccer or something like that.
Mm,
Do you remember that?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. It's
Progeny,
a long
if
time
you could
ago.
just raise your hand like this,
Mhm.
raise your right hand like this. We're going to
Right hand.
form a connection right now. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And focus your mind, just focus your attention on the palm of your hand, but keep looking at me. And you're going to slowly start to feel a connection, a buzzing, tingling kind of sensation. The minute you feel that, the name is going to come into my mind. You feel that right there, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Progeny, if you ever see Roshan again, tell him I say hi.
Okay. You were right. How? How did you do that?
That's that moment that I was talking about where the cogs kind of jam.
Oh my gosh. How did you do that?
And I didn't get you to write the name down. I didn't get you to search it on the internet or anything like that, right? You didn't tell me. You didn't tell anybody else. No, nobody else knows this, right?
No.
And what's even crazier, Progeny, is before we even got onto the call here today, I actually went onto my Instagram and I typed in the name of somebody that I believe that you would have thought of before we even met. If you had to think of a celebrity right now, could you get a celebrity into your mind?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Uh, okay, this is interesting because I'm getting that you were thinking of the character that this person played. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Because my prediction, and I don't want to reveal anything just yet, but my prediction was actually of the character name and not of the person's name. And I don't want to reveal the entire thing, but was the person's actual name, was that David? I'm not going to reveal the rest because before I even came on here to this call here today, to this interview, I actually went onto my Instagram and I typed in the name of the celebrity or the personality that the celebrity plays before we even met. I didn't type it in a prediction amongst, well, in a post at least. I didn't type it in a post amongst thousands of posts. I said it in stone in my Instagram biography. Do you have Instagram?
Yes.
Could you go onto your Instagram for me, please?
Okay. I'm I'm stupefied right now, but I'm going onto my Instagram. Let me open that up.
And just so everybody knows at home, what was the person's full name? So before you even do that,
Mhm.
you're going to type in my name, and
Okay.
then we're going to get you ready to click into my profile. And before you go into my profile, let me know when you see it. So you're going to type in Larry, so it's
Yeah.
Larry, and then Soffer, which is Soffer.
Mhm.
Now, before you go into my profile there, what is the actor's name? Not the character that the person plays. Because I'm getting that there was a car involved, wasn't there?
Yes. Yes.
What was
The
the
actor's
person's
name
name?
was David Hasselhoff.
Now go into my profile, click it right there. What does it say in my biography? Read it out word for word.
I sense Projeni will think of Kit, Michael Knight. Follow me to experience more of the impossible. Oh my gosh. Yes, that is
I
true.
got the car and the actor's
Yes,
persona.
you did. You did. That is impossible. That is impossible. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know if everybody's going to be able to see this, but Tlale, can you see that on the screen? Can we show
And you
everybody
can even
this?
take a screenshot to put it up on the screen later
I
if
want
you
to show
like.
everybody. I'm
But
going to get our cameraman here to show everybody on the screen.
yeah,
That's exactly what's on Larry's uh,
Instagram
Instagram
profile.
profile. Oh, wow. Okay, this has been quite a morning.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed.
I have most certainly enjoyed it. Surprise and delight, for sure. I'm sure all our audience that is watching as well has probably felt very much the same. Please do not blame me when you get thousands of calls after this asking for a session. Surprise and delight in their daily lives.
Well, thank you. And I never do this as a personal one-on-one, but if people are looking for answers in their life and they're trying to resolve things, I can always help people out personally and direct them to an appropriate course that would help them. But what I do is purely for entertainment, to uplift people and to take people into a world where they know anything is possible.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so, so much for your time with us. Next time you're in Johannesburg, you are definitely going to come back into studio with us and we'll have more tricks up your sleeve, I'm sure. I'm sure there's not just rabbits in there. Um, but thank you again, Larry. For people who want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So if they just search Larry Soffer online, they'll find me very easily. But all my social media is Larry Soffer. So no dots or dashes in between, just Larry, Larry, and then Soffer is SO with a double FER. And if they want to find me on the web, it's larrysoffer.com. That would be my website. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from anybody that would like to have me for their event and uplift their clients and their staff and so on into a world where they know that anything can be achieved, anything is possible.
Thank you so very much. We really, really appreciate your time. So, to our audience that's listening right now, I think what I take from this conversation is that entertainment, has been chronically under strategized in our industry. We've spent months designing agendas, briefing speakers, curating content, and then we book the entertainment in the last 2 weeks, right? But the moments that audiences actually remember are the ones that shift energy, open their thinking, and create the conditions for connection. And those moments are available to every single organizer that's out there. So they just have to know what they're actually commissioning and with whom. So, Larry, thank you again. This has genuinely been a different conversation. And to everyone listening, I'm your host, Projeni Pather. It's been a pleasure having you on board today and introducing you to Larry Soffer. This is Africa Event Connect, and we'll see you again next time.